Right, here we go, just going out of my isolation bubble to go for a little walk. I'll see you in a bit, babe. And yeah, it's there goes my isolation bubble door, and I just take this is the sort of walk that I like doing. Do it in the mornings, just get in touch with nature, through the back fence. So got a gate here which goes out to the outside world. So here we go. I've got a wheelbarrow just down here. But excuse the mess, I'm sorting it out down here. No, just step over these gates I put in. And out here we've got some sort of derelict council area, but which I've been sort of working on to try and turn into a fernery. Very shaded. So basically this area here, you won't come in contact with anybody, so it's great. You sort of walk up here and we come out to a graveyard, which doesn't sound like the most exciting place to go to, but it's actually quite fun. And it's actually great sometimes when you walk around and see how many young people died, you know. Interesting. For all sorts of reasons. One big, reason in New Zealand a lot of young people die, or teenagers, and is suicide. But suicide at the moment's all gone underground. But trust me, people are still doing it. Probably one of the biggest killers on the planet at the moment of human beings, actually infant children, is abortion. People seem to think it's quite a right to kill a child, an unborn child, or even a child now. Actually, in New York State, it's actually now legal to terminate the birth of a child at 9 months. It's still in the womb, and I think, I don't know, that to me just sounds barbaric. But it's legal, so, those people out there that support that, I just wonder one day if you maybe come against a creator, possibly, whether you'll be judged on that, supporting it. So here, this nice little hill. Good morning, people. Not much conversation there. So it's a great little graveyard. It's actually quite big. I'll give you an aerial sort of look from up here. So it's actually massive. So, but yeah, it's beautifully kept, and apart from the odd hoon that comes up this hill, they like to do their little burnouts. But I noticed the council recently put in these little judder bars, so that has cut down the level of how much they can burn out, which is great. So I was just thinking, I think it's personally, this social distancing, I totally agree, that we need to have social distancing, but we don't want what I call social isolation. As humans, we are pack animals. We like to sort of socialise. That's part of us. So when we don't, we actually isolate ourselves. So I think it's actually good to keep in contact, good to sort of, use modern means of doing that. So talking with everybody. There's so much stuff floating around at the moment, that they've got us running around in circles. But the key thing I think we should do is we need to keep up our exercise, need to keep fresh air, need to get in the sun, get into nature, gets the endorphins going inside of us, and it's that basically is like an immune system to us. I know a few people that have gone through lots of stress, and stress can come about by all sorts of things: death, business failure, business pressures, marriage divorce. When I went through my divorce, for whatever reasons, created a lot of stress and a lot of pain, and our bodies have to cope with that. And often I found when I was under stress, I never ate, and then all of a sudden, if you didn't eat, you lost weight, but your immunities were reduced. Excuse me, I'm just coughing. Sorry, I did actually get a bit of a cold a couple of days ago, and a bit of a sore throat, and I thought, oh no, I might have the virus. But no, sadly, I've only got a cold. Common cold, which is quite normal. Healthy people get them. So where was I? Talking about stress. And I know a few people that, you know, have actually gone into a lot of stress. And as a result, it's actually led into something else. And I know one particular friend who went through a lot of trauma with his children and had a very vindictive wife. And he ended up even having a pacemaker fitted because he actually got a virus. And I think it was a flu type virus that attacked his heart. So one wonders if he didn't have that stress and that life was being good and he wasn't having it, would he have fought that virus off? Who knows? Just my little throwing it out there. And he may watch this video, I don't know. I'm not naming him, so it's just private business. But it's just one example of somebody I know. Look at this here. So it's great. So there's nobody here. Now apparently in some countries now they're droning people who are out walking like this. Now I'm told by a gentleman I have listened to in Australia in Brisbane, Max Egan. He's an interesting guy. Has some quite interesting theories. I don't agree with all of them. But yesterday he was saying that he was walking down this beautiful park, you know, and now he's told that is, as of yesterday, I hate walking on dead bodies, so I'm just going to come out of there. As of yesterday, you now can get fined $1,300 for going for a walk in the park by yourself. So, talk about freedoms. You know, many of these freedoms have been taken away for us from a virus, which is not actually claiming the most deaths on this planet, like I just said before. You know, I'll walk down here, I think. You know, the virus, or not the virus, the thing that's actually causing the most deaths on this planet at the moment is abortion. So, food for thought for you lefty liberals out there who like to support things like that. I think you need to have a rethink. And if you think that's actually a good idea, I mean, there are circumstances for abortion. I totally understand that. Medical reasons. You know, but abortion should not be an excuse for contraception. Abortion really comes back to, in most cases, actually making sensible choices with our life, avoiding intoxication and drugs and stuff like that might lead us into that environment. But yeah, so at the moment I feel that getting out, getting some fresh air, eating good healthy food, clean water, keeping stress out of your life. Every night, I don't really watch mainstream news. I find most of it just a repetitive cycle of fear porn. And I really don't buy into that. And obviously, one thing I have noticed is a definite divide between people. We have people with faith who may have a religious conviction. And then we also have people with no faith who, and often I find the no faith people are challenging the faith people to say that, hey, you know, you need to do what the government says, because they've been led by the nose, by the government. Now, if we look at governments and we go, are they corrupt? Well, of course they're corrupt. They've always been corrupt. Do you believe everything they say? Well, you're a fool if you do. I mean, look at George Bush, that little guy. Weapons of mass destruction. What a load of rubbish. So let's go in, because tragic event that happened at 9/11 killed over 3,000 people. That's allegedly. It's probably a lot more than that. And you know, they go in and kill 1 million Iraqis. Oh, really? 1 million Iraqis? What? Mainly women and children. You know, and men vacate the place and go somewhere else. But, you know, that was a tragic event. Not only that, they sent over many of our young men. And I say young men, I'm talking, you know, about American families' young men, of which they go over there and they come back, and most of them got, you know, post-traumatic stress syndrome. You can go and you research this yourself. 22 veterans per day in America are committing suicide. But we don't even think about that. you know, and the guy that's on the street with PSD, is it post-traumatic stress syndrome? He's sitting on the street begging for money, you know, and people are, you know, the one our thing about Americans, they're very generous. If they see somebody with a cause, they always help out. So, you know, it's interesting. I think when you look at these things, there's a lot more going on in the world. So now we have this, you know, pandemic, you know, painted as a pandemic, but yet actually the reality is that 95% of us will get this and survive. And what it's taking out is it's taking out the weak people, the ones with low immunities, the ones that maybe are elderly. You know, their systems as we get older, you know, they deteriorate. And I love this here, sorry. Least we forget. Now most of these men in these areas here died in wars. Wars created by governments, created by countries, dictators, and you know, we shouldn't forget that, but we do. All of these men and women here had mothers and fathers. They were someone's young child once, and they gave the ultimate sacrifice. They died for their country. They died for freedoms. So I just ask you now, least we forget, have we got freedoms? Or are they just things that we think we have? Our freedoms right now are being stripped away from us because of this so-called pandemic. They're able to write over constitutions. They're able to write over laws, to bring in these emergency laws, all because of fear. 95 people out of 100 won't die of this. 95 people may get this, and they'll survive it. New Plymouth, for example, right now is sitting on, you know, 11 people who have it, and one person that's in the hospital in serious care. I don't know the demographics of that person. Be interesting to know. The other 11 are home isolating. So out of those 11, I expect probably 95% of them to survive. So yeah, interesting. I think the bigger picture we need to be looking at is not so much what this pandemic is bringing at the moment, which is definitely bringing a divide and conquer strategy. You know, and I say that's a demonic one. Devil always works on that, divide and conquer. So if he can divide us by not making us unite in what we should be doing, instead of arguing with each other, and you know, we should be uniting. That's what we need to do. And God's, you know, vision of us is that if we united and cared for each other, that we wouldn't have the world that we've got now. So just my sort of thoughts, thinking off the bat. I'll do another video later to the other picture that is forming. And as I said, this is not just a singular pandemic. This is a twisted pandemic rolled into something else. And it's that bigger picture that I'm looking at. So enough of the, you know, how I see the world, but, you know, interested to know your thoughts. If you have any thoughts, if you don't, that's fine. But, you know, I think it would be good to scratch our heads and think about the reality we have at the moment. And if anything, you know, for me as a man in faith, I believe in God. I believe his existence. I totally believe that he is working on our side and helping us all the time. My life is a testimony of that. I mean, if I was to say to people, and hear people the cliche, I have a blessed life. Yes, I do have a blessed life. But my blessed life comes through the power of Jesus Christ. Won't harp on. I know you people that don't have faith in God struggle to hear those words. So, you know, it's only a matter of time. You know, the Bible's quite clear. It says that every knee shall bend. I totally believe that. And at some point, we will all get on our knees. All of us. We all come with filthy rags. And it's through the salvation of Jesus Christ that we are able to remove those rags. Still not unblemished, but we're able to remove those rags, walk in his light, and he will be there for us. It's his promise. And I totally believe in that promise. So whatever you're doing today, I don't know. I like getting out. I'm about to go back now, get on our bicycles, go and do 11 Ks, maybe more. and say hello to a few people too. Hey, I used to say carpe diem, seize the day. I still agree with that. Seize the day, eyes wide open. Take care. Love you all. And until we meet again, see ya.